Hi guys, and welcome to At Home with Elisa. Today I want to discuss with you our first ever Posy Project day. So if you've been watching for a little while, you would know what the Posy Project is. Essentially it is making bouquets of garden flowers that would be delivered to a local nursing home here on the central coast of New South Wales. So the project was inspired by a lady that I've known for most of my life, and she is no longer able to live at home with her husband. She now lives in a nursing home, and it got me thinking about how hard it would be, because I know that she misses her garden, how hard it would be to live somewhere where you couldn't have access to fresh flowers all the time. So I thought, well, maybe once a month I could get some friends together or some family, whoever's available, and make a whole heap of little posies and deliver them to the nursing home, which is what I did this weekend just gone. Now, unfortunately, my garden has been really slow to wake up this year. Last year at this time I had so many more flowers than what I actually do this year. I think I only got about 10 daffodils, which is strange because I planted over 100. So I'm not really sure what's going on. A lot of my daffodils didn't come up, which is a bit disappointing. The ranunculus have come and are almost gone, which is they don't like heat, and we had a 36-degree temperature day, and that really took it out of them, and they've just sort of fizzled out again since. And my sweet peas last year were going well until November. It's October now, and they were going well into November, and they are still going. However, it's very hard to create a bouquet off sweet peas alone. So on Sunday, I just had my youngest daughter, who is 8 years old and very keen to help with the Posy Project. She was so excited. So we looked around our property. We're very lucky to live on 5 acres of land, and we looked around our property in order to gain greenery essentially, and some filler. So the main things that we ended up harvesting was, we went down the very back of our property, which is quite a Australian bush property. We went down the back and we were able, excuse Eugene, sorry, we were able to harvest a lot of ferns. We were able to harvest a lot of greens, and then when I came back up to the front of the property, I just looked at the landscaping plants that we have planted around our garden already, and I was able to get some coastal rosemary and some lavender, which it all came in so handy, because obviously only having a certain size garden at this point in time and not everything flowering the way that it has previously, I needed a lot of flowers and fill. So it was great to be able to harvest those things from outside of the garden. There has definitely been some lessons learnt with regards to pick way more than you actually think you need. The labels that I put on the jars are not waterproof. Didn't think that one. And what else? Allow more time. It takes a lot longer than what you expect to try and do a lot of bouquets. So I'm just sitting in my greenhouse because it is a little bit fresh still outside. The sun is only just coming up, and it's a bit cool, so I'm hiding in here where it's a bit warmer. So it was so helpful that we actually had some landscaping plants that we were able to harvest from outside of the actual garden itself. I cannot wait until our landscaping plants grow in a bit more. We're constantly planting more landscaping plants, but just having them to be able to flower, and obviously to be able to provide for other people, is something I'm very, very looking forward to, and that will just continue with time. I think it's just one of those things, the more you plant, the more flowers you get, so we'll keep doing that. It's fun. Then when it came to inside of the garden, so we'd harvested as much as we could from outside the garden, we came to inside the garden, and we were able to harvest. I had quite a few roses, but I wanted to make sure that I picked them at the right time so that they were still closed, in order for them to open up for the residents of the nursing home, not to be fully blown open already and obviously have their petals drop. So I was really looking at the longevity of the actual flowers themselves. We were able to harvest yarrow, which is something that I have growing quite prolifically here. We were able to harvest some gerberas, and then obviously we get into a lot of the things. I did have some bearded iris as well, which is fantastic because they're really coming on in the garden at the moment. So they are a little bit big for a bouquet, but I made it work anyway. Then we also came into the ranunculus, which, as I said, they are slightly on their way out at the moment, but there was still quite a few that I was able to harvest from, and that was fantastic because just having those extra, they're kind of like, to me, I think they're kind of like a rose because they are so large and bulky. So it was nice to get some of those in the garden into the bouquets. And then we also had some sweet peas as well. I have a large sort of a garden almost entirely filled with sweet peas. So I have the white Norman Wisdom sweet peas behind, and on the towel I have a mixture of different colour sweet peas, and it was so nice to be able to harvest from them. We harvested, I have been every couple of days harvesting as many as I can, because sweet peas are one of those flowers that the more you harvest from, the more flowers you'll get. And I did have my daughter go through and actually cut off any little pea pods that she saw. If I can stop them trying to form pea pods, which is basically sowing new seed, if I can stop them trying to form new seed, essentially they'll keep flowering. So you want to keep them flowering obviously as long as you can. So I had her go through and actually cut off a lot of the pea pods as well, which was really good. So after we harvested as many of the flowers as we could, we actually went through and washed out all of the jars. I have had family and friends collecting any leftover pasta sauce jars or jam jars or anything like that that I was able to use. I had everybody collect them for me, which was so fantastic because they've just been rolling in. I just take the labels off them, but we gave them a really good wash out again. They had been washed originally, but gave them a good wash out again, and then I had my daughter put the labels on them. So the labels are actually just a little sticker. I didn't have time to actually do anything. I think I need to change that in future, but essentially the labels are just one that I stick on my egg cartons that I give to people. So it has just Magnolia Acres, which is the name of our property, and established 2021, which is when we moved here. Those labels, obviously they're not waterproof, which I didn't even think about. But I think what I'd like to do is obviously have that, and then on the other side, I tried to bribe Eugene with bird seed and everything. He's still crowing, so I'm so sorry. So I was thinking that I might actually put on the other side of them maybe some contact details, so that if any of the residents of the nursing home wanted to know exactly what sort of flowers I was putting in their bouquets, then I could obviously answer that for them. So I think going forward I'll probably do that. So I'll have Magnolia Acres sticker on one side, and on the other side I'll have all of our contact details, so that if they do want to know what sort of ingredients I suppose are in the bouquet, then they'll be able to contact me. So Charlotte was such a big help. She was able to go through, and after all of those jars were dry, she was able to go through and actually put all of those Magnolia Acres stickers on the jars. She absolutely loved helping. She really got into it, and she had the best day, she told me. So it was just so nice to have a little helper and you know, assign her little tasks that she was capable of doing, and it was a really good day in the garden, to be honest. I think by far the most fun part, I think after a lot of the work of the harvesting had been done, because it took us quite a few hours to actually do all the harvesting, after all the work of that was done, we basically just set up the table and we were able to sit there and make our bouquets. And we did have some discussions, some creative differences on what a nice pretty bouquet looks like. And then, you know, I may have gone through and just added a little bit more to some of hers and stuff afterwards, but she absolutely loved it, and it was so fun. And I think she just really enjoyed, she's a creative girl, and I think she just really enjoyed having that time to be able to do something with flowers, because she does like to pick me flowers quite often, or her grandmother some flowers from the garden, but it was nice to be able to pick it like in such a way that we had so many bouquets to make. So she was able to pick different color ones that she wanted to do, and she really did enjoy herself. It was a lovely day. So obviously one of the lessons that we learnt was that you need to pick a lot more flowers than what you think you're going to need. That is a lesson that has been learnt, and that will change obviously for next time. We definitely need to make sure that we can increase the amount of flowers and posies that we are able to provide. I was aiming to start off this year with trying to do 30 per month to the nursing home. Just never doing it before and not really sure what to do, and basing it off last year's bumper flower crop, I thought 30 would be achievable. However, this time we only made it to 19. So it was a bit disappointing, but I thought, well, 19 happy residents, and you know, it might cheer their day up compared to, you know, maybe not doing anything was an improvement, was a step in the right direction. So we will continue to obviously try and pick more for future bouquets. I'm doing this every month, and I think that, yeah, I think going forward I need to make sure I've got more flowers in the ground than what I actually anticipate. So yeah, I think it's just being prepared a little bit more. So by far the most fun part of the day, maybe logistically challenging, was loading all those bouquets into our car and transporting them. So we live on a mountain and we need to transport them basically down the hill. That was interesting. So I grabbed a large tub and I packed all those vases in lovely and tight, and we took them down the mountain, and they were clinking and clanging the whole way down there, no matter how tight I packed them in. But when we got down there, they were actually surprisingly pretty good. So I was very happy with that. We just, the nursing home wheeled out a trolley for us, and I was able to sort of fix them up, top up. I took extra water, top up any water that needed to be topped up, and then put them onto their tray, and they just took them into the home. So that way we didn't have to go in, obviously, and do all the testing and that sort of thing. And, you know, it was the point of delivering them, not actually seeing everybody's faces when they got them. So I did have one specific one go to my family friend. I asked that it be delivered to her. So yes, apart from that, the rest of them were just given to whoever needed to cheer up for the day. I spoke to the activities coordinator at the nursing home, and she was just going to hand them out to whoever she thought might want them or might appreciate them. So I think that's all that you can ask for, really. So all in all, it was such a lovely day. It was such a nice day to spend it with my daughter, just making bouquets for people and trying to, you know, enjoying the creative process. Enjoying, I think it was nice to teach her to give as well. I think she's very much that way anyway, so it's fantastic. But it's just nice to be able to do something for others. So we had such a lovely day. As I said, there was some things that I learnt. One, pick more than you think you need. Two, allow much more time, so do everything outside of the garden or the harvesting the day prior. And three, we've got to do something about those labels. So when the water got on them, they kind of smudged a bit, and I think I either need to come up with doing some like waterproof labels, or I do have a whole heap of labels already printed, or use those in a way and put them on at the very last minute when you're actually at the nursing home. So I will work on that for next month. But yes, all in all, it was such a lovely, lovely day. We really enjoyed it, and it was such nice weather too. It was nice to spend the afternoon out in the garden just making pretty bouquets for people. So that is a wrap up of my October Posy project. I am hoping to do this project every month leading through. Most of our growing season is from September through to probably about April or May. There's not many flowers during our winter period, but from September through to April or May, I am aiming to do 30 bouquets per month for the nursing home. I have offered for any family and friends who are available to, on the day of making them, to come and help out and make a little fun day of it. So we'll see how that goes as well, but I am very, very excited with how the first one went. Hopefully we can only get bigger and better from here on in. So it's been such a fun project to work on, and thank you so much for joining along in the journey. Bye.